I'm trying to move in 6 months. We are living in a really expensive time at the moment where it's literally impossible to find cheap rent or affordable rent. Like, there's so many components and so many things that you need to figure out that like no one prepares you for. So when like you're going through it, you're like, where do I even start? How to rent an apartment, especially in 2024. The one big thing we're gonna need to buy is a couch. The longest time I really wanted to move to New York City. I don't want to move there anymore. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Brianne, and this is my channel. I am a 24-year-old. I work from home remotely as a marketing campaign associate, and I'm trying to move in 6 months. I wanted to start this little series, monthly series, maybe a little more on this channel of like a 6-month plan to move. We are living in a really expensive time at the moment where it's literally impossible to find cheap rent or affordable rent literally anywhere. So I decided to make this 6-month plan to kind of relax me a little bit when I go on apartments.com and see that a studio apartment is like $2,000 at least dollars a month. Okay? It's fucking stressful. I currently rent now. I live in a house in South Jersey with my boyfriend and 3 other roommates. So we have pretty cheap rent at the moment. Where we are moving to potentially is nothing compared to the rent we're paying now. So we will be paying more, but I'll get into like the reasons why we want to move and all that in this video. So I'm posting this January 30th. So January is technically like month 1. Our lease is up in July, so July will be 6 months from January. So that's why I did like a little 6-month plan. Nothing is set in stone at the moment, and we'll get to that in a second, but I just kind of want to like summarize like what I'm trying to do. I wanted to make this series because it's so freaking hard to do anything nowadays, and it's so stressful. Like adulthood, like I know they say it's stressful, but it's fucking stressful. Like there's so many components and so many things that you need to figure out that like no one prepares you for. So when like you're going through it, you're like, where do I even start? So hopefully I can help. I'm not a professional in any way. I really just do my research on things and write down lists and make Excel sheets and figure it all out through that. So take this all with a grain of salt, but I feel like this might help someone out there because it's definitely going to help me too because I'm just going through everything for the first time as well. So let's just get started and then everything will make more sense. So a little backstory. As I said before, me and my boyfriend, we live with 3 other roommates, so there's 5 of us in a house. And we just want a change. Obviously, we don't want to live with roommates for the rest of our lives, and we want to start our like living together by ourselves. So we've been trying to move and been like talking about moving for like 2 years at this point, I feel like. And it's always just been like, okay, in 6 months we'll move, in 6 months we'll move. But like this time it's like actually for real. Like we are moving in July. Well, the latest July. Maybe we'll move in June, maybe May, but like the latest is July. So we need to get started on this. So I looked up on Pinterest, and I'm a big planner. I need to plan out literally everything, and I need to just like research everything and write down everything and I love making Excel documents of all of the information that we need. So that's what I did, and I started going on Pinterest because that's where I find like a lot of information, and on TikTok and stuff, and I just kind of like got like a summary of what you need to expect when renting your first apartment. I would say like yes, I'm renting right now, but this technically is like not my first apartment because my boyfriend already had this house, so I didn't have to go like search for it. I moved in with him. So this is going to be our first time both like trying to figure out how to rent an apartment, especially in 2024. I'll make a whole video on that when I figure out what the hell's happening in this world. But I went on Pinterest and I looked up a 6-month plan. I'll link the info, the blog that I found this from down below. I'm not taking credit for any of this. It's just like what I looked up. And it's kind of just like a bullet point list of things that we're going to do in order to space this out and not overwhelm ourselves and stress this out. So I'm just going to like go through them and like kind of talk about it. And then I'm going to show you like my Excel document that I made that I think is like it's going to be very helpful when we're trying to move. So number 1 is obviously always setting a budget, and I can make a whole other video on like budgeting and how I budget my money and how I'm saving money, all of that. I'm opening a brokerage account soon, so that will also be in that video, so we'll wait for that because I'm also still trying to figure that out. But the one main thing is to add additional living expenses when you're looking at cities or places that you want to live, because there's so many things that cost money, like not just the rent. There's a lot of hidden fees additional to that rent. So obviously like water, sewer, electricity, trash collection, internet, pet rent. Pet rent is also something that like we need to look at because we want to adopt a dog when we move, but like later on. Also, like if you're moving to a city, parking, like half the time you have to pay for parking when you're moving into an apartment complex. And you need at least 2 to 3 times their monthly rent as your income for most places, which is like, okay. I've been saving a lot of money so that when we do move, I have more than enough to pay like 3 months rent. If I, like, God forbid anything happened, like I saved up at least 3 months rent for wherever we're moving just to have that safety net and that like emergency fund. So that's number one, is setting a budget. And again, we'll go through that in a different video. 2, create a wish list of what we want. So a few things that like we want is like necessities. I really need a washer and dryer and unit. I would pay extra to have that in my apartment complex. It's crazy that most apartment complexes charge so much freaking more for washer and dryer and unit. It's insane. So that's number one. It needs to be pet friendly because again, we want to adopt a dog. It needs to be close to like so many things that I can walk to. So we want to move to a walkable city. That's something I've dreamed of for a long time. The longest time I really wanted to move to New York City. I don't want to move there anymore. But I need closeness. Like, I live in a suburb in New Jersey. One thing about New Jersey is half the towns don't have sidewalks anymore, so it's not walkable at all. Like, if I go on a walk, I'm walking in the middle of the street. There's nothing near that we can get to easily. Like, yeah, we have a shop right up the street and like a gym, but we don't have much access to things quickly. Like our shopping complexes and stuff are like 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away. It's just like not available easily, and I would love to be able to like walk to a gym or walk to the grocery store if I need to just go pick up something real quick, or have coffee shops down the street that I could just walk to, or a park around the block that I could go walk. So there's just things that I need close. When we go apartment hunting, like that's the one thing we're going to look for, is like how close things are to us. And then these are like not needs, but like it would be nice to have, is a balcony. I would love a patio / balcony. It would just be really nice to sit out there. My parents sit out in their backyard all the time, like literally every day, and it's just so nice to have that. So I would love to have that. And then also a gym would be really nice to have in the apartment complex, because then I wouldn't have to pay for a gym membership. And I'm like really weird with gyms. Like if it's too busy, like I don't want to work out. So that's like a few little things on our wish list that we are looking for in apartments. So that's definitely a really good thing to look, so you can narrow down your apartment search. And apartments.com, like you literally can just click all the amenities and all the things that you want, and it will find those apartments for you. And especially when you do max rent and then there's like 3 apartments, because nothing's in your budget. Number 3, location. Figure out what your location is. There's this website that I need to look up. I haven't looked up yet. It's called City Data. And supposedly, like, that's just, like, you know, telling you all the good and bad things about each city. So we have a few in mind. Our number 1 for a while was Boston, but Boston's, like, one of the most expensive cities in the country, like, more expensive than New York. So I don't think that's going to happen. And then we were looking at D.C., which could still be a possibility, but then we're trying to look in the Hoboken, Jersey City area. That's definitely, like, the area that we really want to look in, because it just kind of has everything we want. Our family lives in New Jersey, but we won't feel like we're in Jersey when we live there because we have New York right there, and I can get a job in New York City. It just seems the best fit for us in that area. Just basically up the Hudson River in New Jersey. That's like the area that we're looking. Another one is, do you want a landlord or property management? I lived in an apartment complex in college, and it was a property management, and then now I have a landlord. So there's different things and pros and cons for both of those. I haven't really wrote out pros and cons for that, but that's like a thing that they say to look for, because sometimes it's better to have a landlord or sometimes it's better to have property management. So they come with different things, pros and cons. After all those 4, now you start your search and check reviews. Reviews are big because there's been a lot that I've been looking at and they look good. And I always, if I see it on apartments.com, I always look up the address. on Google because sometimes they don't even look the same. And half the time, they're not even in the same city. It's just like a property management, like posted all these things under like say Jersey City, and it's in like nowhere. So definitely when you look up things on like apartments.com, Verbo, like all of those different types of websites that you can find apartments or houses renting, look up the address on Google. Also look for reviews and make sure that people like actually like living there and there's no like infestations of like rats or anything. Definitely look at the reviews. And then schedule property tours. And here's like a little list of things that they say to ask about. Leasing specials and discounts. The look and lease discount, which I'll put up like the definition of it because I forgot. Inquire about deposits and other charges you will need to pay each month because there's a lot of hidden fees, and when that number rent, it's going to go up because that's just how life is. So we're going to the UK in April for my boyfriend's friend's wedding. Really freaking exciting trip. And that's in the beginning of April, so once we get back from that, that's when we're going to start actually looking at apartments to schedule property tours to see if they will be available in July, because looking now is doing nothing because half of these apartments probably won't be available come July 1st or whenever we want to move. So after we get back from that trip, that's when we're going to start like looking at what the prices are then, and then also scheduling property tours. Then complete a rental application, sign your lease, get renter's insurance. It's only about like 15 to 20 a month. I didn't know it was that cheap, but like a lot of people say don't get it, but honestly, what if there's a freaking fire? Like, I'm going to get renter's insurance no matter what. And then final walkthrough and maintenance. That's like that little like step by step that I saw on Pinterest. So I took that info into my own hands and I made an Excel document. I'm really proud of it. It's not fully done yet, but okay, here's like my Excel document. So first I have like an overall checklist of like some of the things I just listed, but also more in depth so that when we do go through all of this, we can just click, click, click. So honestly, January, month 1, was just me putting this Excel document together because I just love to do it, and like there's not really much we can do at the moment. So I just made this Excel document so we have it, and I'll show you also what else I did one random day when I was bored. Then I have a 6-month overview, which we haven't done anything yet, but this is just going to be like a checklist of things we need to do each month and like what we did, what we found, just basically an overview of everything, January to July. Now this is what I did. I made a whole list of things we need to move, like necessity things that we're going to need, like a couch, a bed, a lamp, like things like that. And then also I put down what we already have. Just a few things. I haven't done everything we have because we have a lot of stuff from just like living here for 2 years. So I separated it by room: kitchen, bathroom, living room, dining room, bedroom, cleaning products, and then extras that we have. Like we have 2 desks, 2 desk chairs, but I think we're both getting rid of our desks because they're too big. But just like things like that. And also I remember when I moved into my apartment in college, my mom told me to do this. Make like a box of things that you're going to need on move-in day, because you're never going to find that stuff like when you move, like paper towels, cleaning products, tape, scissors, box cutters, all of those things. You need that stuff when you move. Like the day of move-in day, you might need all that stuff, like a pen, definitely cleaning supplies. Just have everything in a box and like keep that in your car with you, so when you get to your new apartment or your new house, you have all that stuff to use before you like put all your furniture down and stuff. You don't have to go searching through all the boxes. So that's kind of like what I put in the cleaning products, like just making sure that we have that stuff. So room, and then it's the item, estimated price of like what we think it's going to be, and like how much we want, then the budget, which is how much we want to spend. And then quantity, how many we're going to need, where to buy. I kind of just started doing that, like Home Goods. I can get some stuff at Goodwill. Links to the things that we did find before we want to buy it. And then a have/need. It's just a drop down. I just did, if I have it, it turns green on the item list. I love doing this stuff. We are going to start looking, like going to Goodwill and thrift stores along the way, because you can find such good things on there. And we have 6 months, so we're going to try to like buy a few things and maybe like flip it a little bit, make it look cool and fit our aesthetic for when we move. So that's just some things that we're going to do to like limit the price, because things are going to be expensive. We actually just got a bed from his family, so will have like the bed frame and the mattress, which is amazing, and it's like has really rarely been used, so that's awesome. And then also the one big thing we're gonna need to buy is a couch. So everything else we're hopefully getting from like thrift stores and Goodwill, like coffee table. We actually have a coffee table, so there's nothing like really big that we need to buy except for a couch, which is freaking expensive. Next, I have locations, pros and cons. We don't have anything here yet, but this is where we're going to put what the few locations that we want to look in and the pros and cons. Pros being what's around it, cons probably being the price. Potential jobs, I made one for both of us. So the job, the commute, the salary, the location, and the link to apply. Luckily, I have a remote job, so it won't be too hard for me to move while working because I work from home. So I don't have a location that I need to be in. So that's a really great pro. But Zach doesn't work from home, so he will need to find a new job when we move. And I got this next one from like online for free, this household budget template. I didn't do really anything for it, but this is going to be like the budget for both of us. I already have a budget Excel file, but this one just seems more in depth, so we both need to sit down and like go through this and put what we need and how much we're going to be spending and all that. So that's my Excel file. So basically, a little summary of the next 6 months is going to be, January was just kind of figuring it out, you know, researching, looking things up, making that Excel file, and also that's going to be probably February as well. February is going to be more of Zach and I sitting down and looking into brokerage accounts, investments, putting our money elsewhere to help us in the long run. That's not going to help us when we move in 6 months, but that will help us when we want to buy a house one day. So that's just another thing. February is going to be very like budgeting related. Yeah, definitely setting a budget in February, and then also like kind of getting an idea of where we want to live, location, and creating like a wish list of what we want in an apartment, and you know, just checking reviews of like neighborhoods in each city, like where's the best to live. And then March is going to be basically the same thing. April, we'll go on our vacation, and then when we get back, that's when we will start looking at apartments and deciding exactly where we're going to live and what our budget is, like final, highlighted everything, and then we can start searching for apartments. And then May and June will be all apartment tours, because if we can move in June, that's great. It doesn't matter. July is just when the lease is up. So between May to July, or May and June, we'll be looking at apartments and also figuring out job situations and all of that. And then from here on out, we're also just going to be decluttering, going through our closets, donating stuff, selling stuff, buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace and all that, just to find the cheapest stuff that we can get that's also nice. So I know this video was a little all over the place, but it's month 1, so month 1 is all over the place. But that's why we created a 6-month plan, to not have us all over the place, even though I feel like it's going to be stressful anyway, because it's expensive. I will go in more depth of everything I talked about today in more videos to come, because this is just basically like an overview of what this next 6 months are going to look like. So if you have any questions, you can comment below and give me some ideas of like how you plan your life or how you like plan to move, because we're all in this together. It's definitely a stressful freaking thing to go through, and I just like want to do this like the least stressful possible way that we can. So comment below if you have any questions or advice about moving and like what you did to move in 6 months or even like a month. I know people like literally figure out how to move in like less than a month, and it's crazy that that's even possible, and I don't want to put that stress on myself, so that's why we're doing this. So stay tuned for more of this little series of moving, and then once we move, that'll be so fun to film all of those videos. I'm going to do literally the whole process. I'm going to be filming literally the entire process of figuring out what the hell we're doing and where we're moving and what's happening, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to be alerted whenever I post a new video. Starting in like 2 weeks, it's going to be constant, really fun vlogs coming, because I have a lot of fun things happening in the next few months. So stay tuned for all of that. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on TikTok, Instagram. You can actually follow me on Pinterest. I'm going to be posting a lot there coming up. So I love Pinterest. I use Pinterest for literally everything. So you can follow me over there. All the links are in the description. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video, which I think is coming out on Friday. I'm not sure, but bye. We're all in this freaking together. All in this together. Do you know the dance? Because I do. Okay, bye.